So welcome back. This is our first video of 2020. We took a little extended break. We had the flu, the weather got nasty. We were having like 100-mile-an-hour winds and 9-foot seas. That was the worst. And then we were having anywhere from 30-mile-an-hour winds and 6-foot seas. So we had to take a week off to do that, but we're back in business now. So this video we're going to talk about kind of just show what we got to do when we take an extended period off from the cabin, what we got to do to get the cabin back in order so we can live in it. Let's go. So first thing we got to do is shovel the boat out. We did the back, let's do the front. So one of the other things we have to contend with when it's snowing is, even though they plow and sand the ramp, it's still slippery. And when you're backing down a 1,500 pound of boat, we always chain up just to be on the safe side. So we got some easy to put on chains, so let's get them put on. All right, go forward. Keep on going. That's good. Stop. So when you put the chains on, I always just put them on, and then we go forward a little bit. They let the slack out, then you tighten them back up. So we got the boat down the ramp successfully. The chains really helped out because, I don't know, we've probably gotten just a couple inches in since last night. So they plowed the ramps and throw sand on it, but everything was already covered up before we got out here. So yeah, putting the chains on is highly advisable. Just, dude, we've backed down that thing before and started to slide, and
just kept sliding.
That's a butt packering moment for sure. You're like, oh no. So we're also going to do the New Year's inspection of the boat probably on the next video, and we'll show you our new addition to our boat as well. So but from here on out, we're going to go to the cabin, and we're going to show you how we get everything warmed up and get it ready to live in again. Right?
Right.
So here's our routine for when we get here: is we always unload the boat, get the trailer all situated, and then we tire the boat to our haul out, and then haul it out in the water. If it's, look at Gunner. Gunner thinks he sees something. What is it, Gunner? Otter? That's what I thought. If it's super windy, then we will go first thing, get the winch. That way we can pull the boat out of the water, but it's calm as can be right now, so the winds have left us, luckily. Yeah, so now it's a high tide. It's a 17-foot tide, so part of our trail is covered with water, so we may have to walk back to the cabin first and then come back a little later once the tide goes out. It's just an extra thing you got to think about. So we're going to see how far we can make it, and if we can't make it the whole way, we'll just leave the four-wheeler and the trailer and come back for it in an hour or so, get the cabin warmed up. So we had to drop the trailer because the snow is a little deep in some areas, so we had to drop the trailer and then run the four-wheeler down the trail, pack all the snow down, and then we're going to try putting the trailer back on and getting it up this little incline here. Oh, that's perfect.
Like you planned that.
Like I planned it. So first things first, when we get here, we always, especially, I mean, we've been gone almost a month. So we start the generator up and get the batteries charged up. And then switch the propane tanks out for the fridge and the freezer. And then we get a fire started. Generator's always first. Sometimes we get the fire started second. You can see we had a friend. Couple friends, so we got the generator started. We swapped out one of the propanes. We'll probably swap the refrigerator out next, probably tomorrow, or see how many days it's got left in it. And then now we're gonna go inside and start a fire. All right, so we stay in headlamp mode while we get everything else done, while the batteries are charging up, because we don't want to start the hit the lights on and already start putting a draw on it. So we let them charge up like 20 minutes or so, and then we'll hit the power. What are these things called? What are these things called? So we like to use these, I don't know, what are they called over there? Can you see? I don't know what these things are called, but they're little fire starters, and I like them. I mean, huh?
Safe Light Fire Starter.
Safe Light Fire Starter. You don't have to use them, but we enjoy them. And the reason why is because if you're gone for even a day, everything gets super cold. And so we light one and then just let that thing burn for a minute or so, or a couple minutes, and then that warms up the flume and your chimney stacks, and that way you can get a good draw, at least for this stove. We'll talk about our stove in another video. We love it, but it's got some pros and it's got some cons, and we'll cover both of them. Yeah, so we'll let that thing go for a few minutes, and then we'll start adding some kindling to it. While we're waiting for the stove to warm up, the thing I like to do next is downgrade and take off our socks, because even though we wear the chest waders or the hip waders, they still don't breathe. So when you're working, your feet is sweat, your socks will get wet. So I always like to put a new pair of socks on just to get my feet a little, give them a chance to warm up, because we're probably right at 33 degrees because the snow's melting a little bit, and it was, I think, 32 when we left this morning, so it's probably warmed up during the day. And yeah, so let's get the fire started now. I like these UV gloves because you can just put your hand in the fire and it doesn't, you can just go in here and manually maneuver stuff the way you want it. These things are great. Last but not least, once we get the lights turned on, I guess I could have turned the kitchen light on. Once we get the lights turned on, we also turn on the Toyo stove. That gives us extra heat to get this place heated up. And it also, the oil stoves, as opposed to propane, is a dry heat and it takes humidity out of your cabin. Propane actually adds humidity to your cabin. So wood stoves and oil stoves take humidity out. Propane adds humidity to it. So by turning this on, we're also going to not only heat our cabin faster, but we also take out the moisture that's been creeping its way in here for the last month. All right. This sucker's pretty easy, man. I'll tell you what. I love this thing because you just turn it on, it warms up for a little bit, and you set it for whatever setting you want. And 68 degrees seems like a good one for me. So right now inside with the wood stove running already, it's saying that it's 47 degrees in here, which isn't too bad. But when you're cold and wet from being out in the water, and then you come in here and you're like, 47 degrees is a little chilly. But yeah, that's it. So we'll go around the property a little bit and look to see if we got any down trees or anything, or if anything's happened that we need to know about. And then that's kind of how we get things going in the when we get back from a little. It could even be a day. This is basically our routine when we get back. If we stay the night in town, or if we're gone for a long period of time, this is kind of our routine when we get the cabin back livable. Oh, he just left. But we, for years, have had 2 harbor seals that hang out around the island. And whenever we come outside and take a walk or burn trash or whatever, they always come and just watch us. So I'm going to start walking. I'll keep the camera rolling and see if I can get him to pop his head up. Where'd our little friend go, Gunner?